Hey guys, Bella here from Coldwell Banker Pinnacle Properties. This is going to be a more serious video. This is how to make sure that someone is qualified to buy your home and also how to make sure that you are qualified to buy a home. So in my last Facebook post, I talked about working with qualified buyers, and this is something that a lot of people don't realize is what actually makes a qualified buyer, what makes you qualified, ready, willing, able to buy a house. So the three things that I was coming back to over and over again are time, money, motivation. So those three things are really what it boils down to. So I'm going to go through each one of these. I kind of have a cheat sheet, so if you see me looking down, that's what this is. This will be a bit of a longer video. So we're just going to go through each one. I think that it goes without saying that money is probably the most important. An offer is not real unless it has money behind it. So, if you get your house is listed for $85,000 and you get a full priced $85,000 offer, that is just a theory unless you have money to back it up. So you need to have some kind of pre-qualification letter. Some people call it a pre-approval letter. What it is a letter from a bank saying that this person has the money to purchase this property. And the letter will go so far as to say that the letter is good for probably 90 days, and it will also say for how much amount. So you just need to realize that an offer without a pre-approval attached or proof of funds, if the offer is a cash offer, you should still assume that you need proof for it. I think the biggest thing is to just realize that, because people will tie your house up under contract and then you can't show it to anybody else and you can't sell it to anybody else if it's under contract. And that offer, if it doesn't have money behind it, is not a real offer. So the next thing to think about is, do they have money for the down payment? Is this something that is going to have to be sourced from family or their parents, or taken out of a 401k? And if so, will that money be readily available by the time that it's time to close? A down payment is typically 3 to 5%, but it could be as high as 10 or 20%. And that's just something that you would need to think about, is if you have money for a down payment, because you may have money to make the monthly payments on a property but not necessarily have a spare $5,000 in the bank. So that's something to think about. The next thing is, are they prepared to put down earnest money? Up to, starting around $1,000 is typically what earnest money is going to be. Usually it's around 1% of the purchase price of the property. And this shows in good faith that the buyer is committed to the transaction. It also shows that the seller, that this is real, there's money behind these offers, because if you can't come up with $1,000 for earnest money, you probably can't come up with the rest of the down payment either. So that is another reason. And one thing to think about is, are these people employed? How long have they been employed? Is this something that might fall through if someone lost their job? Is this a dual income household, or is this a single income household? And I know these questions seem really intrusive, and you don't necessarily ask this line by line, but at the same time, when you're making small talk, you can find out a lot of these things. And if the buyer says, oh, I just started working here, or we just moved here and we don't really know yet where we're going to work, that to me would be kind of like a red flag, something to think about. Another question would be, where do they bank? Who is their lender? Is this a local credit union, or is this somewhere like Wells Fargo? Either way, they're going to be able to get that proof of funds and pre-approval letter. So that is the number one thing. If you don't take anything else out of this video, please realize that an offer without a pre-approval letter or an offer without proof of funds is just an idea. It's not reality. There's nothing behind it. And so that's just really important in the real estate business. And it's easy to get excited when you get an offer on your house and to just be like, well, yeah, it's going through, everything's fine. But, make them do their due diligence and make them show a little bit of proof. Okay, so the next thing that is how you qualify a buyer, like say someone is interested in your house, the first thing that I would think about when it comes to timing is, when do they want to move? If they're telling you that they want to move 6 months from now or a year from now, they're not the right buyer for your house. because, you know, that's going to tie your house up for another 6 months. You know, it's going to be, if it's on the market, you're going to have people coming in your house bothering you, trying to see it for 6 more months. So if that's something that is an issue, you know, I would really think that they're not qualified. Another thing is a lack of time. If they don't have time to go drive by the property, to go take a look at it, to check out the neighborhood, then they're probably also not very qualified. Okay, so the last point is motivation. So to qualify someone, you know, why do we do what we do? Why does anyone do what they do? Why did I buy this shirt? Why did I live in this house? It's my motivation to do certain things. So motivation for buyers is they need a house, they need to move. So if they already have a house, then they need to sell their current house, which is another whole nother video subject. But, you know, if they're motivated to move, like say their house has sold, it's closing in 2 weeks, and now they don't have anywhere to live. They're going to have to go stay at their mother-in-law's house if they don't find a place pretty soon. This is a qualified buyer because you've identified their motivation, you've identified the need for them to move, you've also identified that they probably have the money to move if they've just sold their current property. So see what I'm talking about when you look at all these moving parts. You have to think about that in this whole entire transaction. Why are they moving? So if they currently have a house on the market, their motivation is going to be strong, but is their timing going to be right? Not necessarily. A lot of people who have a house on the market have it under contract. Well, they'll make offers on other houses, but they'll make the offer contingent on their house selling. So when someone does that, what it's doing is tying up your property and you're stuck. Meanwhile, they're waiting for their deal to go through. Well, you don't know if they knew about all this. You don't know if they got the pre-approval letter. You don't know if they got the the contract signed for closing in 2 weeks or 2 months. So it's just something to think about, is if they're as motivated as you are. The last thing would be, if you are working with people, do they know what they want in a house? Are they just like, well, we think that we want to live over here, and, you know, we don't really care what school our kids go to, and we don't care how many bedrooms is in there, and, you know, things like that. You do care how many bedrooms you have. You care how many bathrooms you have, how big the yard is it fenced in or not? Is there a garage? Is it close to a grocery store? These are things that are really, really crucial to your house purchase. And if you're not sitting down to think about those things, you really need to sit down and do it, especially before you go and, you know, look at stuff, because it's a lot easier to go house shopping when you know what you don't want. I tell people that all the time. I say, make a list. Must have, can't stand. And, you know, when you walk into a house, you'll typically get that gut feeling of, wow, this is really something that I could see myself living in, or, oh my gosh, this place is not, I'm not feeling it at all. Like, you just go with your gut instinct on a lot of things. Of course, the price has to be right, the time has to be right, but at the same time, you know, I think you can go with your gut on a lot of things like that. But anyways, this video is sort of, like I said, sort of intrusive questions to be asking, but either if you're a real estate agent, if you are working with a real estate agent, if you're buying a house, if you're selling a house, this is all stuff that you need to be thinking about. Do these people have the time? Do these people have the money? Do these people have the motivation? Big 3 things that will keep you out of trouble, and if you just sit down to really think about these, then you will save a lot of headaches. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully I have a lot more content coming out for you guys. I know that this video is going to go on YouTube, but also go on Facebook, so I'm marketing and, you know, learning and trying to establish myself in the real estate community. And you know, the biggest thing is that you just treat people right, and I think that everybody has a reputation one way or the other. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So again, I'm Bella. I work for Coldwell Banker Pinnacle Properties in Florence. You can reach me at 256-335-7529. I'm happy to answer any real estate questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will tell you that I don't know the answer, and I'll get back to you on it. But anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. Y'all have a good one.